Hello, hello everyone. How are you? Um, I want to prepare you for today's live. Yeah, this is going to be an epic live. So please get a pen and paper, pencil, paper, whatever you need, because you are going to want to take notes. My special guest today is the Parasite Lady. Now, most of you know me. If not, I'm Wendy. I've been a master herbalist and horticulturalist for over 40 years. Hi, Green Girl. I've supplied my local health and vitamin stores for decades and do a radio show once every other month at my local radio station. Over 15,000 people have now been healed from all disease and illness in the last 2 years alone, using one of my protocols, my herbal protocols, which a good half of the formulas I donate, because I do grow these herbs organically. I forage them for 6 months straight, and I donate all of that herb, all of it, to my formulas, because my goal, like God's goal, is to have every single person heal from all disease and illness. But you're not going to want to miss my guest today, and she's going to come on in about 1 minute. We're going to figure out how to go live together, and I'm pretty certain I can do that, to have her come on. Right, so the Parasite Lady is coming on for me. If there's anything you ever wanted to know about identifying parasites and what they do, Carrie's the girl to ask, and she's about to come on with me in a couple seconds here. And of course, if you want to get rid of parasites, I'm the one you want to come to, right? Because I've been doing it for over 40 years. I can't see her on right now. Let me see if I can find Carrie, guys. I'm not quite sure how to do this yet. I'll find her. Hang on, guys. We gotta have her come on. If any one of you can tell me real quick. I think I have it. I don't see her on yet. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to do a search for her, because I don't see her live right now. Yeah. No. Hang on, guys. Hang with me for just a second. Oh, there she is. Oh,
Hey!
yay! Yay! All right, honey. I was looking and looking for you. I couldn't find her. I said, I don't know where she is.
I said, let me try to figure this thing out.
Right. You did it. So I've been telling everyone here, I said, get your pen and papers out, because you're going to want to take notes. I said, Carrie, now, if you guys don't know who Carrie is, she's the Parasite Lady. She's the one who wrote the book, Parasites Inside Me, the Enemies Within. Yeah. How the heck did you do that? I need
What?
to know how to put something behind me. We'll
The-
talk on the phone.
That green screen. That's the only thing I know how to do.
Okay. I know how to do that too. I just don't know how to do it on the live. But you guys, I want you to listen to Carrie. Carrie reached out to me last week telling me that her daughter was taking one of my protocols. And Carrie, I'm going to let you take the ball there. You tell them what happened.
Yeah, so, and like I was telling you, is like, 20 years ago when my daughter was 12, she had her appendix rupture. And of course, at the time, we had no idea that this was caused from pinworms. And so, she had the appendectomy. We moved on, didn't think anything about it. And so she ended up with this knot in her throat and severe pain, like in the area of her uterus. And I didn't know that she had ordered your protocol number 2 until she called a few days ago and said, Ma, I ordered Wendy's protocol 2, and it's only been like 3 days, and the knot in my neck is gone. and the pain in my uterus is gone. Because she said it felt like a stabbing, constant pain in her abdomen.
Right.
And I said, well, you need to make a live TikTok and tell everybody else so that, you know, somebody else experiencing your symptoms can get with her, order her protocol too, and regain their wellness, you know?
Absolutely.
But she's so excited, and I'm so excited for her, because, you know, it's hard to find a system, a kit that will work for most people, right? You have all these parasite cleanses out here. Some will work for some, and some may not. And it's just nice to know that your protocol, number 2, that she ordered, she has seen the difference physically, and she has felt it physically. And that to me is just amazing. And so I did have my publisher put your link up on my book site under the shopping tab, so that anybody who comes onto my site looking for resources, looking for studies, they can also find your website.
That is so awesome, honey. And I'm planning on putting your website on mine as well. And I've been having a difficult time. So I know somebody's here to give me some help. I think my admin can actually help me with that one. You guys, please tap the screen. Let's get us up to 50,000 likes, because this is a rare occurrence that myself, and we have the Parasite Lady expert right here, and you need to hear this. So guys, let's get us up to 50,000 real fast, because everyone needs a pen and paper in hand and listen to what she's about to say. And I'm going to ask her questions, and please ask her questions as well. And Carrie, I know you can't see the comments on my side, so every now and then I'm going to ask you a question from my followers on this side. And if someone on your side has questions for me, please let me know as well.
Okay.
Yeah, now we had a conversation earlier today, and I said, you have to say that. Back up a little bit. What was it again you said? And because people need to know this information.
So, you know, I'm a critical thinker, and I have to know all the answers. It's just something about me. I've always been this way. I have to dissect everything. And so over the years, you know, I'm constantly going back into every aspect of my life, trying to dissect how did I get to that point of literal death with parasites, you know? And one of the most important things, and I tell this to everybody who I speak to, is I ask them if they've ever had a demonic attack. Because I correlate the parasitic infections as the semen from the demon morphed into the physical. Because every single person, and I've talked to thousands and thousands of people around the world, every single one of them had a demonic attack prior to the infection. And demonic attacks can happen when you're asleep. They can happen when you're awake. But most of the time, people have this experience when they're asleep. Something's holding them down. They can't move. They can't breathe. I've had so many experiences. And I'm so proud of myself because, you know, I recognize that as being my issue. And in the last one I had was probably a year and a half ago. And it was all black, and over to the left was the devil, and God was here with me. And he was trying to take my soul, and I was praying things I had never even knew I knew. And I just kept going. I was like the warrior. And then boom, it was over. But, you know, it is so important that people understand that in order to get well, the very first step is to resubmit your life to Jesus. And
Amen.
even in the words that you say, be cautious, because we speak things into existence. Our words are so powerful. And, you know, over the years, we've seen, I'm sure you've seen, where people identify as their illness. And they must stop doing that because they are claiming that over their being. And anytime somebody is sick, no matter what it is that they're facing, the verbiage is, I'm getting well from whatever their illness is. But they cannot say, I have, because they are claiming that. And we don't want to claim the illness. We want to get well from the illness. And the only way to do that, to gain discernment, wisdom, understanding, and healing, is first submitting everything you have about your being to Jesus, because it's not going to be until that point that you truly mean it with your soul that you are going to get people in your path. And no matter what you do, you're going to want to change your diet. You're going to be careful about the water you consume. You're going to be very committed to whatever cleanses these people choose to take. It is a complete life change when you do that. And that's where your wellness comes in, because, you know, God created our being perfect. You know, one of the biggest issues is the poisonous waters that we consume, that we all pay for from the cities. And they have all these forever chemicals in them. The fluoride and chloride in them are terrible. The chloroform in them is terrible. But it inhibits our thyroid from absorbing iodine. And every organ, including our skin, needs iodine. Iodine is also a natural parasite killer. And so when we're drinking this fluoridated water, we are not allowing our thyroid to help heal us. And
Yeah,
so,
you know, it's a funny thing you say about iodine, because I've been doing this for over 40 years, and iodine is one of the main ingredients in every single one of my protocols. So you can't miss that step. And a lot of people do. And because they don't take the initiative to get real quality iodine supplement, I just plain include it in every single one of my protocols.
that's
Yeah.
awesome, you know,
Yeah.
because it is so, so important. But in order to allow your thyroid to really be optimal, they really need to make sure that if they're on city water, that they get a water filtration, reverse osmosis in their house, because even bathing in this stuff, your skin is absorbing all those chemicals.
Yes.
And so, you know, it's basically, they're just chasing their tail in a circle. They're
Yes.
working hard to get well, but they're not going the full mile to get well, because it includes everything. For me, in our last house, we bought, and this is a crazy story. You know, when you're looking at a house to buy, you never think to water, right? And we didn't. And we had bought 12 houses prior, and we never looked to turn the water on. But after
Yeah.
we bought this house, the water was brown. In Elizabeth City, North Carolina, it was brown. And so we consulted the neighbors to say, hey, is your water brown? Is this normal? Oh, yeah, it's normal. Once they flush it out in September, it'll go back to being clear. Yeah, yeah.
In
So
September.
they flush it one time a year in September, and then it goes
Oh my
clear for a
goodness.
small spell. Then it goes back to
Oh.
being brown. And we weren't in that house for a month before I started really becoming terribly symptomatic. And so immediately my husband, I said, I can't do this brown water. And so he spent, I don't know, $6,000 on a water treatment system because I couldn't do it. And then here in Florida, we went a step further and we got a commercial water system. because it's so important for me. Water, you have to have water. You can't live without it. And
Right.
I want to make sure it's the best that I can get for my family. And I don't care. There is no amount of money in this world that is worth my health to go back and do again what I had done. It's just not worth it to
Exactly.
me.
I so agree. We have so little time on this earth, and when people say, well, this costs so much or that costs so much, it's like, but how much quality of life have you lost? How much time at work? How many times couldn't you even go to the beach with your family, go to family picnics? How much is that worth? Think about us. We think, oh my gosh, geez, I can't go to McDonald's this week or whatever. People are so used to eating that junk food. They're not thinking that if they invest and put full commitment into their health, they're going to have years and decades more of quality of life. And that's the first step is people on my side are asking what kind of water should you drink. And Carrie said it, reverse osmosis or distilled water is the best. You can get distillers from Amazon for approximately $80. They have cheaper ones than that. But just know, everyone, that there's usually metals and bacteria and pathogens in all bottled water. City water, bottled water, I don't care, even if you live in the country. We just had a new well put in 3 years ago. And I know this is a mining community that used to mine copper. So I know there's arsenic in my water. So I will not drink it. So I distill my water. And many will say, well, doesn't that take the minerals out? Well, yes. So there's a simple thing you do to replace the minerals. Just put a pinch of Celtic salt, right? You
Yeah.
know this, right, Carrie?
Yeah, I
Pinch of
use
Celtic
Celtic
salt,
salt. I use it
Celtic,
for everything.
right? Me too. And you don't need much. So yes, it costs a little more for high quality Celtic salt, but one pinch is going to do you for a long, long time. So that's how you replace the minerals. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I take extra supplements as well. Um,
yeah.
every single day of my life, I'm taking something, but I always take all of my magnesiums. I always take my whole kit of minerals every day and vitamins, and then I have liquid vitamin C. So I'll do like 3,000 I use of those. Um, I am very diligent about the things that I do consume. And like you were talking about McDonald's and these fast food chains, I will not eat there. I'm not
No,
going. I don't care if it's
no.
the last building standing. I'll eat grass first, but I will.
Yeah.
I just will not eat that garbage because people don't realize it's just poison. It's
It is.
just poison to your body. And once you are to that point, and you know what I'm talking about, when you are dying, you're in a bed, you are suffering tremendously. All you can think about is either one, God take me away, or two, I have got to change something because quality of life is better than quantity of life. And when you regain your quality of life back, there's no limits on what you can do. There's just no
No.
limits. And too often we see people giving up. And when I say giving up, I'm even including, a 30-year-old filing for SSI. To
Yeah.
me, mentally, emotionally, you have submitted that it's over, it's game over. And
Yeah.
and maybe I'm just maybe Gen Xers, maybe we're different, but I will not ever submit. No way,
No.
not ever. It is something that it's worth the hard work. It's
Yes.
worth me selling the things that I didn't need in my house to get the money to get what I needed to get.
Absolutely. Carrie, talk a little bit more about, saying when people give up. And you and I talked a little bit about that, how parasites go straight for the brain in 3 seconds to do what? Um, their goal is to crystallize the pineal gland, and it cuts off your connection with God, and they also manipulate your whole body. Can you talk about how parasites manipulate your brain and why people
So,
are giving up?
the one of the first things that they do, and this happens at 6 weeks. So, if somebody gets tested before 6 weeks, they're going to result. Okay, so their eosinophils will be high, their lymphocytes might be low, their neutrophils might be high. Their labs are going to result showing all 5 elements of their white blood cells out of whack. At 6 weeks, they all go back to their normal measurements. And this is because it takes approximately 6 weeks for the parasites to manipulate your immune system. And what they're doing is suppressing your immune system, such as steroids would. So they're suppressing your immune system for their survival within. And they will actually take some of your fighter cells and attach to the outside of their body. They're essentially taking your DNA and attaching it to the exterior of their being to evade detection by your fighter T cells. Okay. And then once this takes place, and all of this is really quick within 6 weeks, they use your third lumbar in your spine to travel up your spine into your brain. That's where we get sinusitis from. That's where we get MS from, bacteria from Lyme disease. That's where all this stuff comes from. And as you can imagine, when you have parasites, the bacterial levels are increasing because your gut flora is out of whack. So your candida is going to increase, your bacilli might increase, your anthrax might increase, your Charcot-Leyden crystals are going to increase. All of these things that are normally in your gut are going to increase. Everything's out of whack. Then you're going to get IBS. So it's the entire body. Once they manipulate the immune system, it's the entire body that they will invade. But the brain is part of this. In a lot of the studies, they've tested mice, they've infected Toxoplasmosis gondii to see what the effects would be. And the mice ran directly to the cats because Toxoplasmosis gondii is a natural inhibitor of the cats. That's where they like to be. And
for anyone who has seen my video on that several weeks ago, for those of you who don't know, cats are the only environment that the parasite Toxoplasma gondii can reproduce. It doesn't mean that other animals don't have it or that we don't have it.
Right.
It means, well, birds especially have it, but the parasites can't reproduce in them. They can only reproduce in cats, whether it's feral cats, house cats. And where are cats getting this parasite? Well, cats, especially if they're in and outside cats, they're out there chasing birds. Birds are just carriers. The birds are pooping on the ground. They're and everything else. And yeah, what do cats do? They roll on the ground.
Right.
So those of you who don't know what Toxoplasma gondii is, that is a very aggressive parasite coupled with, and they actually create a very aggressive virus inside your small intestines, and that's what creates Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's in particular. Every single person who has those diseases have tested positive. From what my research is, Carrie, you can tell me something else. If you know more, please step in. But from my research, I found every single patient with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's has Toxoplasma gondii, and they're microscopic. If I remember correct, if I remember correctly, you can't even see them under a microscope. They have to be dyed in order to see this parasite. Am I correct on that, Carrie?
Well,
I think.
most of them can be seen under the microscope. We use the dyes to illuminate them.
I see.
Because the dyes, like I use Dr. Overstreet, God bless him, thank God for him. He says, Carrie, you don't need these expensive dyes. Use iodine. I was like, are you kidding me? He said, no. And I said, well, I've been using red food coloring. He said, red food coloring is great too, but it illuminates their insides. And when you do that, even for the unicellular parasites, it illuminate their insides.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I have a picture of Dianthus fragilis from my microscope. I was doing everything Dr. Overstreet told me to do, and I was just snapping pictures left and right, and I saved all of them.
Right.
And it wasn't until 2 years ago that I was actually diagnosed with Dianthus fragilis. And so I went back through all of my microscope images, and I'm like, holy shit, it was right there. I missed it. I never saw it. And,
Gary, I have some people on this side asking me what kills Toxoplasma gondii parasites, and I can tell you that my protocol 3, especially taken with my maiden's tears and bloodroot tinctures, knocks them right out of the ballpark. I have one guy right now, he's had Parkinson's for 12 years. He was not able to move the right side of his body for 10 years or see out of his right eye. In 10 days on my protocol 3, he was able to have, once after 12 years, have feeling on his right side. He was able to open his right eye and see out of it in 10 days. Now, just know, you guys, that's pretty miraculous. And that's why when I formulate these herbs together, it has to work 100%. Because if it doesn't work 100%, you are going to be in big trouble. And I told Gary and I were talking earlier, it's like you don't chase a grizzly bear with a stick. What's the grizzly going to do? The grizzly is going to turn around, attack you, and probably kill you. No, you got to go after a grizzly with full guns, and the same thing with parasites. That's why my protocols are 100% effective, anyone taking them so far. So anyone out there with dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's, my protocol 3 has clinically, scientifically shown this herbs in it have been scientifically shown to be 100% effective, especially in combination. So get the protocol 3 with my maiden's tears and bloodroot. Now what maiden's tears does, I told you earlier, when you have Toxoplasma gondii parasites, they create a very aggressive virus in your small intestines. That virus creates proteins which are spike-like on your cells, which are able to permeate through your small intestines into your bloodstream. And now, not only do you have parasitical infestation, now you have a viral infestation, which is causing a lot of symptomatic issues like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all autoimmune diseases. So what Maiden's Tears does, Maiden's Tears is unbelievable. Maiden's Tears targets these viruses, literally killing them in 2 months. Well, in 2 months they're cleared, okay? It takes 2 months to clear a very aggressive virus like that. Unless you catch it right away, you can knock it down and your symptoms are like negligible within usually 10 days. But that doesn't mean it's gone. You have to keep taking it for 3 months straight. 3 months straight to totally rid your body of that virus, coupled with the Toxoplasma gondii parasites that are now infested throughout your whole body. And like I said before, you don't want to chase it with a stick, because they're going to run into your deep muscle tissues and organs, your liver, kidneys,
Yeah.
pancreas. And Carrie, I'd like you to talk about that. What makes parasites run? If you're not killing them on contact, per se, with one of my protocols, what is making them run, and where do they go, and what do they do then?
So we have a lot of things going on here. People are going to allopathic doctors. That's their choice, whatever. And these doctors are prescribing prednisone. Prednisone, depending on your parasite, can create a hyperinfection and can be fatal. So I always tell people prednisone has its place. It does. It is needed. However, we prescribe it way too much, and we are prescribing it without testing prior. So we've got to be a little more careful in just doling out the steroids for people, especially if they have not been tested for parasites. So steroids is going to create a hyperinfection. That's going to cause dissemination into your organ tissue linings, into your fatty tissue, your face, your tongue, your throat, your brain. And then some of the other things that's going to cause dissemination is going to be chemo and radiation. Even antiparasitics like albendazole will cause dissemination. And so one of the issues that I recognize in the allopathic care, when a patient can get a doctor to prescribe it, they're only prescribing one dose. And if you're going to use something like albendazole, which I did, I had no choice because I was just about dead. It has to be constant. So I took albendazole almost 18, 17 months. And, you know, you have to give yourself a break, but it will cause dissemination into your tissues. When I was taking the albendazole from the infectious disease, boy, they migrated up to my face and my whole face was crawling. And so people have to be very, very careful what kind of allopathic pills that they're taking. If they know for certain that they have parasites because they're seeing them in their stool or they're coming out of their skin, they can see them coming out of the nose, the ears, the whatevers, they need to do their best. If they're not in a situation like I was, where I was completely infested from head to toe because I had had steroids, then they really need to go with a herbal route to help themselves. Some herbal routes may take a little longer depending on the parasite. Like you're talking about Toxoplasmosis gondii, the only method to go after that is the herbal, because the CDC banned the allopathic medicine, which is diethylcarbamazine. So they banned that, which is pretty interesting, right? Just like they banned mebendazole. Anything that might have worked for people is now banned. So some of the parasites, they have no choice but to use herbal methods. And I did have a lady reach out, I don't know, a few days ago. She was diagnosed with Toxoplasmosis gondii, and I gave her your web link, and I told her she did. Yeah, because your method is the only method currently available to help people with that. And people need to realize that if they've ever had a cat, even in their childhood to adulthood, the chances are very high that they have it.
Exactly. And I need to tell everyone what Carrie's talking about. Now, she was talking about fenbendazole. And I know from all my research that fenbendazole is only 45% effective against parasites. And that's why people taking it have to consistently take it, because it's like walking up to a grizzly bear with a stick. You know, you're not getting anywhere. Whereas if you looked up any one of my protocols, I have 5 protocols. all of them contain my herbal ivermectin. And if you research every herb in my herbal ivermectin, you're going to find that the research shows that they are 100% effective against all species of parasites. Nothing out there that I've ever seen is yet 100% effective. But my herbal ivermectin is, and it's in every one of my protocols. And that's why people, thousands of people, have been healed in the last 2 years alone, over 15,000, totally cleared of their disease and illness because they were able to, yeah, they were able to kill these parasites on contact, because that's what it does. And you guys, I didn't miss a thing. I did not miss a thing in these protocols. Let me tell you, the cancer protocol, for instance, the cancer protocol has the quinine in it. It has the berberine. It has the herbal ivermectin already in it. It has the iodine. It has everything. It has the Asiac tea ingredients in one bottle. But you can't just do the one bottle. You have to do the full protocol, because cancer isn't just parasites and fungus. Cancer is also heavy metals.
Yes.
Metals attract parasites, right, Carrie?
Yes, as a
I
matter
think
of
I
fact,
heard you say this.
every
Yeah.
study that I've ever read, let me see. Cancer is indicative of heavy metals. Parasites
Yes.
are indicative of heavy metals.
Yeah.
So if you have ever gotten diagnosed with either, you have heavy metals. And it's important to get that out, because
Yeah.
you're never going to get well if you don't go after the heavy metals and take away what they want.
Exactly.
You don't want to be attractive.
No. And you have to have the correct binder to remove it. Otherwise, your body is going to go in herxing hell, detox hell. And there was a study done on this between zeolite, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, and Damascus earth. They compared those four. And there was no comparison to micronized zeolite powder, which was the only element that was able to permeate through the blood-brain barrier. The other three only bind in the gut. Activated charcoal, or maybe it's bentonite clay, one of those two does slightly go through the blood-brain barrier, but it does not have a cage-like structure like zeolite powder does, which just goes in it. So when you're taking my protocols, killing these parasites on contact and pulling metals, the zeolite is right there with it, grabbing the dye off, gently pulling it through your bloodstream and out through your bowels. And this is why I have a private support group, because when you get on one of my protocols, you are immediately invited to my private support group, so we can walk you through the process. So you're not going to do this alone. You don't have to be afraid of. I see a lot of people on my side, Carrie, posting how afraid they are of the detox symptoms. And I know why. Because every other protocol out there does not include these herbs, and it does not include that binder. And it's the only one. Yeah.
The herxing, depending on the load. So I was full. And so my herxing was pretty bad. It was like a really bad flu that never seemed to go away. But I knew going into it that I would feel that way, and you have to prepare your mind, and you have to decide, do I want to go through this hell now to regain my life, or do I just want to give up my life? And, I correlate that with giving up the Holy Ghost, right? Because we know that parasitism is a demonic attack. It is.
Yeah.
And you do go through hell, literally, right? But keeping your eye on the prize, holding on to the Holy Ghost, getting through that phase, because it's not going to last forever. Do not fear is in the Bible 365 times. There are 365 days in a year.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up and you say, I will fear nothing but God himself. And so no matter what is thrown to you, including the herxing, do not fear it. As long as you're holding on to your God, believing that you are getting well, knowing that he is working to heal you through his medicines that he made and allowed you to be able to know how to make these things to help people, right? And so don't be afraid of the herxing. You just got to fight through it. It's better
Yes.
than fighting for 50 years just trying to breathe or trying to walk to the bathroom. You're
Right.
talking a short spell of herxing for long-term gain, right?
Absolutely, honey. And I tell everyone on my protocols, if they even begin to start feeling herxing symptoms, zeolite is a lifesaver. All you have to do is take one more dose of zeolite and you'll feel better in 15-20 minutes. Because if you're feeling herxing, that means you have so much more die-off happening than is equal to the zeolite in your bloodstream to pull it out. It can't keep up. It can't keep up.
Yeah.
So at that moment, you just take one more dose of zeolite, which you can take it up to 6 times a day. It's included in all my protocols, and you'll smooth sail through it. You might just only have moments of, holy cow, I was on the toilet for the last 15 minutes or whatever.
And just so everybody knows, like, I did not take anything for my herxing.
Yeah.
So, you know, what I discuss in my book, you know, I didn't take charcoal. I was scared to take charcoal. I did not take anything for my herxing. And so I have your zeolite now, but you know, if people are following your protocol and utilizing the tools that you send, they're not going to be severe like I was. But I did not take anything for it because I didn't take anything else. You know what I mean?
Right,
But
I do know.
I do have shenanigans. Oh, no, wait. Ezra wants to know, can they use soursop bitters along with your protocols?
Absolutely. I encourage it. I mean, please go ahead. It's just that soursop is it's unique all on its own. It's something you want to take separately and not mix with the other herbs because the synergy of the two don't combine well. I wanted to include it in it, but you know, I figured there's enough suppliers out there. I don't grow soursop, and I'd rather that you find a good organic source to get soursop on your own, and certainly take it with that, with my protocol too.
There's it's called Miami Fruits, and in season they get fresh soursop. They're big, but they are expensive. I got like 5 for I think $135 last season. So it is expensive, but you can get them through Miami Fruits.
Oh, good to know. I hope you guys have pencil and paper to write this stuff down. And yes, you can take apricot seeds too. I mean, anything you can do to punch the cancer out of your body. And that's what we help you with through this private support group too. You guys all of you who are wanting to order a protocol, the invitation is sent with packaging, so you'll be able to get into group real quickly. But we want to make sure that we are focused on the people going through these detoxes because you made the commitment. You made the commitment to heal yourself, and that's what we need. That's what we want to focus on is those people who walk the walk, commit to yourself, and now you have all the support you need to get you through this to the other side of healing. That's what we need
and
to
then
do.
always share your testimonies because you know
Always.
there's going to be somebody else in this life that's going to experience the same things that you did, and they
Yeah,
don't have any idea where to start. And that's where
I
you
know.
people come in, and that is to give your testimony and say, I did XYZ. This is where I got it, and I'm feeling great, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so it's a matter of teaching each other, because, all these years we had lived our lives. We never heard of parasites since we was a little kid, when it was pinworms, remember? And ever since then, you never heard anything about parasites. And we go through this life not realizing that they're part of the ecosystem just like we are. And it's important that everybody learns this, because our future generations are going to rely on our education of what we teach to them. And if we don't invest the time to learn this stuff and teach our children and our grandchildren, those people are going to suffer. And I am not leaving this world until I am assured that our grandchildren will understand what is before them, how to fix it, where to get the stuff to fix it. Because that, to me, if you read my book, that's why I'm alive. I refuse to die, and I made a deal with God. I just cannot leave this world until this is all taught. Everybody knows about parasites. It's not one of those taboo conversations where everybody's hiding in the closet. No, this is a real life issues that we face, and talking about it openly is going to ensure that the conversation stays in the public forum where it belongs, because everybody needs to be taught these things. We have Dr. Pooch, and he's on here, so it's Dr. And a little line Pooch. And he also has a website, drpooch.com. He has a series of 12 books talking about using foods to heal your body. And if you have little people, I bought some for my grandchildren up in Virginia. The one who bought your protocol, I bought them for her kids. Get these for your kids. Teach them how food works and how the wrong foods will make you sick. This stuff is important. It's not about just playing baseball. It's not about playing soccer or being the best cheerleader. We have to properly care for our body in a way that we can be the best football player. We can be the best cheerleader, right? And it all starts with food and herbals. And so make sure you invest in teaching your children. It's for you too, even though they're children books. Adults will learn from these books because you're reading them to the children. And so it's not just for the children. While it's aimed for them, we as adults will learn from them too.
Exactly.
But
and
I
old
do have,
age. Yeah, go ahead, Carrie. Keep going.
I have Crazy Lou 7 who wants to know, what's the best way to rid yourself of parasites?
Well, that would be my basic protocol 1. If you have absolutely nothing else going on, no other disease and illness that you can think of or are diagnosed with, my protocol 1 is a big, thorough parasite killer. You will feel fantastic. But I got to tell you, about 85% or more people in this world also have an underlying virus. And you don't know you have an underlying virus until you start killing these parasites. Because all of a sudden you'll be feeling good for a couple of weeks, and then bam, the fatigue is back, the brain fog, and the muscles are aching, and muscles and joints are aching. That is an underlying virus. And so I try to encourage all of you, if you're going to do a parasite protocol, start with my protocol 3, because it eliminates all of it. Just wipes it all out, because I don't want you to have to start the protocol over again or continue on with it longer than you need to. Not that there's not maintenance to do, because there is. We are around many people who are just loaded with parasites. Know this, you guys, parasites are vibrational. They have the ability to jump within 6 feet of another person animal or something in your environment. Is that correct, Carrie? Is that what you know
Yes.
as well?
Yes, and even
Yeah.
in conversing with people, because
Yes.
they stay in your small intestines. If somebody has them,
Yes.
they're going to cough them up. You could be standing right there within 3 feet. You can
Yeah.
contract it this way. And like, have you ever talked to somebody who had severe halitosis and you're like trying to get away? I always try to
Yes.
get away because I know that they have decaying in their small intestines, and that's where this odor is coming from if it's not coming from rotten teeth.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
so we have to continue maintenance even after we've healed ourselves of disease and illness. And I do that by every dose of my protocol too, which is my zeolite, my nature's answer, isn't just for cancer. It also clears all my major organs. It focuses on fungus and bacteria. And I also take my Vtox, which has the top 10 proven herbs there's to permeate through the blood-brain barrier to pull the metals out of the brain. Because you guys, these parasites, when they excrete ammonia that turn into uric acid, that is what crystallizes your pineal gland like acid on a battery terminal, cutting off your production of melatonin because your pineal gland is what produces your melatonin. When you don't have enough melatonin, now you have sleep apnea. Now you have severe brain fog and fatigue, and your muscles and joints are hurting. Your hair is falling out. So yes, my Vtox contains. There's only few herbs in the world, you guys, that permeate through the blood-brain barrier to pull metals, and that's what my Vtox does. The top 8. And then, of course, I take my zeolite, my nature's answer, my Vtox, and my breathe right mouth spray, which is food grade hydrogen peroxide. It's H2O2 therapy, but I want something better. Now, I've been a smoker for many, many years in my life. I quit for some time, and but it still gets me because just know that addictions are usually caused by trauma, okay? But because of that, I take my Breathe Right spray every single day because it puts oxygen straight into my bloodstream, opens up the capillaries in my lungs and the entire body, and I also infuse it with mullein and peppermint, which no one else has ever done. And to this day, and I'm almost 60 this year, I have zero emphysema on my lungs, even after smoking that many years. Zero. Zero.
that's awesome. I actually read a study maybe a couple years ago related to peppermint and cancer.
Yeah.
And it showed that peppermint would, it works against cancer. And I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy because there was a
Yeah.
doctor who was talking about just chewing the peppermint gum.
Right.
And he said, did you ever notice people who chew the peppermint gum, they don't ever get sick? And so I had to dig down that rabbit hole. And sure enough, there was all kinds of studies out there talking about that. And I was like, holy cow, wow, amazing.
Exactly. Another thing the Breathe Right does, which is part of the protocol, is it reaches your pH. And since it puts oxygen straight in your bloodstream, you must know that no disease or illness can live in a high oxygenated bloodstream. That's why my protocols work, because you're battling your disease and illness from all sides on the physical level, just battling, boom, it has no chance to live. It's out of here. Normally, the average time is 3 months. I've had many people, though, who had to do it longer because the many more years or decades you've had the disease and illness, the longer it's going to take for your body to be able to handle getting all those toxins out of your body. I mean, and this is where herxine and detox symptoms comes in. When you try to detox years and decades of toxins out of your body too fast, your body's going to let you know, and you're going to be bedridden. It's just going to put you down. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
Your skin is your biggest detoxing organ, outside of, your lungs and urinating and bowel movements. But your body can only handle so much. Imagine if it detoxed all at once, you would have what looks like feces coming out of your eye, skin, nose, mouth, and probably bleeding as well. It would not be
But
pretty. So just know
you know,
that's,
the thing
yeah,
that I like about the herbal remedies is that these herbals will also support your kidney and your liver in the detox. Because,
yes,
you know, the allopathic pills like that I took for a long time, you know, it doesn't, there's no support, organ support to help you get those things out. And there's no support for that organ. And so, you know, if they improperly take some of the allopathic medicines, they can hurt their organs. And,
yes,
you know, that's another reason why I like the herbal methods is because one, God made it, two, it's natural, and three, it's going to give support to those organs as I'm cleansing and detoxing.
exactly. And every single one of my protocols includes that to support your major organs to help detox. But some of you are going to have problems with your lymphatic system, although my protocols do help clear the lymphatic system. If you have hypothyroidism or hyper or hypothyroidism or any kind of goiters or anything, you're going to need a little extra help with your lymphs. And that's when I formulated my lymphatic support. It's like Mr. Plumber. My lymphatic support is like Mr. Plumber to the lymphatic system, and it just like drills through. And it's the herbs are very mild, but they know what to do. They just like drill through those your lymphatics, open up the gateways, unclog your sink, because your lymphatic system is what catches all like a strainer in a sink. So if it's packed full and you need a plumber, my lymphatic support taken along with any protocol if you're worried about opening up your detox pathways, and my protocols do the rest of it. So that works
So
great.
we have another person who wants to know, do you have a cleanse for MS?
Yes, yes. On my video, I posted a testimony video. I had a gal with MS for decades. On day 10, or was it I don't know, it might have been sooner. It was less than 10 days. She was able to walk again after years
That's
of having
awesome
him.
because one of the viewers asked that question, but I do have I have a couple cousins who both have MS and one is wheelchair bound. And so I'm going to tell him, I'll get that information and I'm going to send it to
Yeah.
him.
And that
So
protocol to take for MS and all autoimmune diseases is my protocol 3. And you also want to take my Maiden's Tears and Blood Root with it, because that just knocks it out of the ballpark.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
that's on godsherbsheal.com, by the way. I know my moderators over here are posting my website, and I forgot that your viewers don't know. So you guys, you can get any of my protocols at godsherbsheal.com. And
Yeah,
once
and
you
if you
do,
can't remember it, you can go to parasitesinsideme.com, go to the menu bar up there, go to the shop tab, and she's like right there. Just scroll down till you see
yeah,
God's Herbs, and the link is right there, and it'll take you straight to her
yeah.
website.
Or
And
follow
just so
me,
everybody knows,
guys.
I
Follow
don't
me,
make
and
any.
you guys
I don't
follow
make.
Carrie, and
I don't
you
make
guys follow me.
anything
Yeah,
off of
follow
her
us.
stuff. This
Yeah,
is
we
just
will
to make
help
sure
you.
you have the resources.
Exactly. Um, yeah, I got people asking, or a lot of people on my side saying somebody they know have MS, and I'll tell you guys that MS is just a symptom. It's just a symptom of parasitical infestation and viral infestation. and metals. That's all autoimmune disease is. And Carrie, you might not have heard me say this before, but I tell everyone, if your doctor says you have an autoimmune disease, in their language, it means they don't know.
Well,
Autoimmune means they don't know. Yeah.
here's what I learned. They do know, but they're not allowed to tell you. They're not allowed to tell you. And I mean, I talk about their behaviors like in my book because I couldn't figure out at first. I thought they just didn't know. Yeah. But then when I saw their behavior, it was like somebody poured a bucket of anger over them. And I've come to the conclusion they do know, but they're not allowed to tell you, because when you look at the dynamics of going to a doctor and saying, I've got parasites, help me, they won't help you. They always want to say that it doesn't happen here, only in a third world developing country. Mm-hmm. And their demeanor, their statements are uniform across the country. That's real, because, you know, like where you're from, the culture in your state is going to be different than the culture in Florida. The doctors are not going to say the same things. And so I felt like that was pretty interesting. But when doctors, when they give you any kind of allopathic antiparasitics, if they put in your file that they saw by picture a tapeworm or a roundworm, they will get peer reviewed and taking chances of losing their license to practice. Now, yes, that's insane that would even take place in this country where doctors feel threatened or intimidated to help their patients. And we saw what happens with that scenario the last 3 years.
Exactly. And I don't know, I bet you it would be very easy for them to just get a naturopath degree or whatever to be a natural doctor. Why don't they just do that? When they know, I mean, when they really know what's going on, where's their integrity? You know, that's what or they just stay where they're comfortable. Oh, yeah, I'm going to keep poisoning my patients with these pharmaceutical drugs, knowing full well what they have and what would heal them, right?
Yeah.
We really need to keep educating people, Carrie.
We can't be the only people reading these studies. I mean, these doctors have to be reading these studies at some point, you would think. But like Hashimoto's, there has never been one patient that has Hashimoto's that doesn't have blastocyst hominis, which is a parasite. It's never happened. Every patient that has ever had MS and died, they did autopsies on like 100. All of them had parasites in the brain and in the spinal cord.
Absolutely. Funny you mentioned Hashimoto's. I did a video just on that with the I'll let you pronounce it.
Blastocyst hominosis.
There you go, honey. With that one, and I wasn't able to use the green screen. See, here it is. But I've been able to heal everyone who's ever come to me with Hashimoto's. I've been able to heal them 100%. Their numbers, they actually came back with a blood test and saying, hey, here's my blood test. I'm cleared. I have no Hashimoto's. I have no hypothyroidism, and their goiters. When it gets that far as a goiter, you've gone beyond 10th stage Hashimoto's. Now many times they turn cancerous. So, and I help people with that too. People's goiters are just shrinking in a very short amount of time.
Isn't that incredible? That's just incredible, because, you know, my ex-husband back in 1993, 1995, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was in the 90s. But he actually had to have his thyroid removed because he had a goiter that was wrapped around his esophagus and it was strangling him.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I believe that. See, Carrie, I don't know about you about how long you usually go live, but I usually go not further than too much after an hour. And I have,
How long have you been on here? My phone's not telling me.
oh, we've been on just a little bit over an hour, but I know I'm going to be spending some time answering everyone's questions, and you're welcome to stay for those questions because it might help some of your followers over there too. How many people are on your side, love?
Let's do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do
I
question
don't
and
know, and I don't know how to tell.
you don't know how to
I
tell?
don't know how to tell.
Look in the upper right corner of your phone, love. You see it next to this. It's and it has a little body, and mine says 220 people. So
Oh
you're
no, I
I
just
want to.
have 11,
Oh,
12.
okay. You I want you to tell my people over here your book again, it, and where they can get it.
So my book is right here, Parasites Inside Me. You can get it on Amazon or you can go to parasitesinsideme.com. It'll be on the landing page. Now, we also did a documentary in January, and it's called Controlled by Parasites. Now, this is a play on words as well because we're not specifically talking just about parasites. We are talking about the government and we're talking about the Department of Defense. We are talking about how they created this issue that we are all facing through way of vaccinations, through aerosolized their Unabomber airplanes dropping and spreading bacterias. So our government, Department of Defense, let me be specific, has been doing this since 1957, bacterias over different regions of the United States to test the bioweaponry ability of that specific bacteria. And these bacterias can be and are transmitted congenitally to our children. And so we don't know why our children are born sick. Well, this is why, and you can thank the Department of Defense for the United States. Dr. Judy Mikovits, she is a CDC whistleblower. I don't know if you know who she is, but
Absolutely.
she has been on the front lines with this whole COVID thing. She is in there because she worked at Fort Detrick where they make a lot of the bioweapons that we disperse on the citizens of the United States. She goes further into detail about Fort Detrick and their role in what they put in our vaccinations and our childhood vaccinations. And then we have Dr. Brian Artis, who also is in there talking about different elements of parasitic infections, what to do, as well as they both talk about the last 3 years because I gave them free reign to discuss anything that they wanted to discuss to educate the American people, because you can't fight an enemy if you don't know what the enemy is, right? And
Exactly.
so people have to understand what we are fighting and who is behind this so that, one, we can work to get well. We have the antidotes to everything. They don't make anything without an antidote. And we have to work to stop all of this. And the only way to do that is through education. So both of those are on the page of parasitesinsideme.com.
That's beautiful. You guys, I've never read your book yet, Carrie. I've been wanting to get it forever, but I find myself researching what I need to research with what I do, and that's the only things I get to read.
I'll send
But
you
I
one.
know a little. Yeah, oh
I'll send you one.
yeah, yay. Yeah, so I can hold the book open and say, see guys, look at what Carrie says here. I would love a book, and I'm gladly pay for it, by the way. But I do, you're so knowledgeable here, and you guys, I need to tell everyone on my side, if you ever read a book, get Carrie's book, Parasites Inside Me, The Enemies Within. She is extremely thorough. I have seen clips of your book when you post them on various medias, and I went, oh my gosh, this lady really did her research. She knows, if you ever want to know the parasite that's coming out of your body, this woman knows the name of it. She knows the name of it. I don't. I know a few. I know the ropeworms, the pinworms, the flukes, the basic ones. But I've had one gal in my group, she reached out to you to ask what parasites she had. And this gal, she let out 3 6-foot ropeworms out of her body. They were wrapped around on the inside of her arms, around her tendons, around her nervous system, in her arms and her legs. And the way she released it was taking my Protocol 3, and she just was just in so much pain. It was like it wasn't letting go. It wasn't letting go. It was dead. But what she finally did was a coffee enema, because this thing is 6 foot long. And she said, as she was releasing it out of her body with the coffee enema, she could literally feel all the pain release as this creature was coming out of her body. 6 foot long ropeworms. So if you have neuropathy and or anything like that, I can bet that you have
Yeah.
ropeworms. Right, Carrie? Does that sound correct?
Yeah.
Correlation with neuropathy? I find that too. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and even like Enterobius formicularis, they will also go to your sciatica nerve. Um,
Oh,
so a lot of people don't realize, like, when they have endometriosis and then they have like back pain and they're like, "Oh, I got a bad back." No, what you have is pinworms,
yes.
and it's
Yes.
on your sciatica nerve. Yeah.
Yes. Every single woman out there could have avoided a hysterectomy if only they knew that it starts in the ovaries and all you had was parasites. Years ago, decades ago, when I was young, I had to get a full hysterectomy before I knew this connection. And I regret it ever since. And here, the entire time, all I needed to do is be my older self. Hurry up, Wendy, make these formulas. I could have cured myself of that. But so
You know,
all you, yeah,
and that's one of the reason why I talk about this is because, 5 years ago, there was literally nobody talking publicly about parasites. I
no,
looked
no,
and I searched and there was nobody. And I emailed every parasitologist in this world. But
yeah,
here's the thing, just like you're saying, had I known, had there been somebody else out here talking, and maybe even if I didn't believe it, and then I had a problem with my reproductive organs, I might have considered it, right? But there was nobody out here to say, "Hey, lady, you've got a problem with parasites, deworm," right? And
right,
that would have saved me, just like you, all of these surgeries where they were harvesting organ after organ. Right here they took part of my thyroid. I've got MS, right?
yeah,
Because they're in my brain. I've got 3 in my brain. They are calcified, so that's a good thing. But
yeah,
you know had somebody been out here teaching and speaking that all diseases can be tied to a specific parasite, I would
yeah,
have never had the appendectomy. I would have never had Dr. Moore injure me. Because people need to understand, if you have parasites, and I'm going to tell you, the CDC's stats say greater than 90% of the U.S. citizens have undiagnosed parasites. So if they go under the knife, anesthesia causes them to migrate. So if they're in your appendix, guess where they're coming up? They're coming up to your gallbladder, and then they're coming into the biliary tract there in your stomach, your small intestine. They're just going to keep migrating up. And so every time you have anesthesia, there is migration.
Yep.
And so people just need to really just open their mind and freely, willingly, just, you don't have to believe it, but do consume the information, because there's going to come a later time that you're like, wait a minute, I get it now, because I do have this problem.
Exactly. Thank you, Carrie. I'm going to answer some people's questions. There's some people asking if we are on Twitter. I am under God's Herbs Heal.
I am, it's the parasite lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm wondering what's in front of my camera sorry, it was a bug, mosquito. But yeah, okay, so Carrie is the parasite lady on Twitter, and I am God's Herbs Heal. I am also on YouTube as God's Herbs Heal. Are you on YouTube?
Not yet.
Okay. Rumble?
I am on Rumble, but I don't post anything on it. But we are getting ready to start a podcast. So we have some people lined up to interview with us and come on the show. We want to talk about not just parasites, but we want to talk about chemtrails and, the whole, all of it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
so we're getting everything set up for that. So that'll be coming probably within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Is this the podcast you were asking me about?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make sure I'm there with you. When we can announce it on our TikTok live so everybody can join there too.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start asking answering questions that people are asking me. So because everyone wants to know how to heal, get these parasites out of their body and what to take. So, yeah, Michelle, all of my protocols cover all species of parasites. How do I know this? Because I've researched it for decades. As far as, and not all information is ready through the decades. That's why I research almost several times a week to find the new, new reports and things like that. Herpes is, so I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to give you a blanket what to take. If you have an autoimmune disease at all, or if any herpes, any EBV or mold, any dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you want my protocol 3, and you want to take it with my maiden's tears and bloodroot. If you have cancer, you absolutely want to get my protocol 2. Also, you want to get my bloodroot. Bloodroot targets cancers, especially lung, pancreas, colon, and brain and breast cancers. Bloodroot targets. So my protocol 2 for cancer would absolutely take care of any kind of cancer. If you've been, I seen somebody on here earlier saying they were vaccine injured. So if you were vaccine injured, or if you have long haul COVID, my protocol 5 just kicks it from here to Egypt. Yeah, you'll get your taste and smell back again. Your chronic fatigue will be gone. And more importantly, the synthetic parasites, the graphene oxide, contained in these, not only COVID, but vaccines, all of that, it eliminates it all out of your body. The maiden's tears is the bloodroot. Maiden's tears is part of it because you now have most likely the retrovirus if you are vaccine injured or ever had COVID, and it targets that specific virus. That virus, what it does in your body is it has the ability to place RNA strands into your DNA. And what the maiden's tears does is target that retrovirus and kill the virus. What the bloodroot does is it has the ability to go in and remove those RNA strands that does not belong in your DNA and repairs your DNA. So you're going to be feeling really good if you've ever had COVID and you have long haul COVID or you have vaccine injury. You're going to feel back to a normal person again in no time. You can get all my protocols on godsherbshealed.com. So now if you have, when I mentioned cancer, but if you have rheumatoid arthritis or arthritis also comes with much fungus. So you would want to take my protocol too. Can you buy single herb tincture for mold and add it to protocol? Yes, you can. User 4203. I just explained the Maiden's Tears. So will parasite protocol help with parasites in the organs? Not, oh, absolutely, Tater Tot. All my protocols are 100% effective at killing all parasites, species of parasites, and it goes really deep into your muscle tissue and organs to kill them there and pull them out. Kathy is asking, does parasites cause ulcers in the soul? Absolutely, Kathy, parasites cause ulcers. Do you do one-on-ones? TC, I'm doing a one-on-one right now, love. Ask me here. Guys, know that when you order a protocol, you get my free consultation in the private group, and you will get that invitation in your packaging. So that's where you can speak to me, ask questions. I literally get hundreds of emails every single day. I try to address as many as I can, but it's impossible. I am only one person, and I do have to work between 14 to 18 hours a day. In this harvest season right now, we are just up against the wall right now because we literally have perhaps 3 weeks left to get at least 1,000 more gallons of herb that I have to harvest. And why do I do that? Because I donate all the herbs I grow and forage to my formulas so that you can afford them. You'll see on my website, all my protocols and everything on my site is 60 to 75% off because I donate to you, for you, these organic herbs, whether I grow them, because we do have a plant nursery. That's what I am, a master horticulturalist as well, and forage. So I get these herbs to you so you can afford it, and that's the goal, so that you can heal, loves, you can heal. I've been there. I know what it's like to not have a job because you're laying in bed and you're bedridden from these things. I've been there. I've been like, how do I pay my electric bill because I couldn't work? And so this is why I do what I do. One of the reasons I want to help you. I want to help provide you the tools at the least expensive way I can by working for you every single day and offering to you these tools that truly heal yourself once and for all. Kathy, you need my help. You just finished radiation. Kathy, get my pure zeolite powder to begin with. That's going to help you get that radiation out of your body, and then you want to start to your father's sweet feet are swollen. What are they swollen from? Capture. Normally, if you're holding in body water, one, your cells aren't absorbing water. You need to put a pinch of Celtic salt in your water so that your cells can actually absorb that inflammation and let it go. Two, you most likely have a lot of parasites, right? Isn't that right, Carrie?
Yes, as a matter of fact, when you see people that have, and I'm sure everybody has seen them, you know, the lady walking with the walker and her legs and ankles are so big, that comes from filariasis, and that is most likely the root cause is filariasis that comes from a mosquito. But when you're done with your questions, I do have some people on my end that have some questions for you too.
Let's take some turns, or let's shoot one of your questions.
Okay, so Patricia Rogers wants to know, what about castor oil?
Castor oil is a very good supplement, whether you take it internally or externally. It helps aid. It helps aid in pulling a whole lot of things out of your body, especially for tumors. So yeah, I have castor oil, and I'm going to start using. Yeah, yeah. So somebody on this side is asking about COPD. COPD is the easy one, right, Dennis? Dennis is one of my mods. He had prostate cancer, rheumatoid arthritis for 25 years, and COPD for 25 years. I think I got that right. Yeah, there's Dennis saying yes, indeed. Dennis healed the COPD just taking my protocol too. It was the Breathe Right mouth spray, putting oxygen straight into his bloodstream, cleared his lungs out. Dennis threw away his inhalers and all of his breathing medications in, was it 2 weeks, Dennis? I mean, Dennis couldn't even whistle. He did a video how he was able to whistle in 30 days for the first time in decades because of my Breathe Right mouth spray. So not only did he heal his COPD, well, COPD can't be fully healed, he went from 20% lung capacity to 80% lung capacity in 30 days on my Breathe Right.
That's amazing. I wish I would have been able to connect with you, a year and a half. Well, my mother's been dead for a year. So a year and a half ago, because that would have just been incredible,
Yes, I know. So any of you out there having emphysema, COPD, allergies, what's the other one? Emphysema, well, any lung issues, cancer, lung cancer. I healed my dad's lung cancer in 2 months. He had 1/4 of a lung left. The doctors gave him 2 weeks left to live, and I turned him around in 2 months. Cancer-free in 2 months, just using my COPD, my Breathe Right, and my cancer tincture.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, okay, your turn.
We have Red Valley Patriot. They said that they bought your Protocol 1. They haven't tried it because the diet is very extreme.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna help you on this one, but I do want you to speak on it too, because when you have any kind of chronic illness, what is the definition of stupidity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, something like that. So when you are trying to get well, it is a life change. And you have to be committed to it. And so if that diet is extreme, there is a reason for it. For example, when I was cleansing, I ate kale, which I've never eaten a salad in my life. I ate kale every day. I had 2 eggs every day. I only drank pure pressed juice, no concentrated crap, no sugar. It was pure juice. I changed everything about what I consumed to regain my life. And I know Wendy is going to speak on this too, but extreme. Do you want to be extremely bedridden, or do you want to be extremely active and well and having fun? And those choices are yours. While we can teach you, and Wendy can supply the herbs that you need to help you, the bottom line at the end of the day is the choice is yours. You can choose not to do it and choose to stay well, or you can choose to get up and work very hard and be committed to your life by doing these things. And that's all up to you. We can give you information, but at the end of the day, the decision is yours.
Yeah, many people don't get to that decision because their life isn't at stake. When your life is at stake, you would do anything to stay alive, anything. So this is why the diet is strict, and it's simple, really. No red meat, including eggs, no sugar, no processed foods, and no dairy whatsoever. Why no red meat and eggs? Because red meat and eggs contain enzymes that your liver cannot process. Parasites lay over 2 million eggs inside the liver every 30 seconds, I think. Here, you might have something different to say. But the parasites live on those enzymes from you eating red meat and eggs and dairy. So are you just wasted your money purchasing the protocol if you're not willing to eliminate those foods along with the sugar? They feed on the sugar. They feed on processed foods, and that means no canned food either, because all canned foods are radiated. I worked in a canning factory when I was a teenager. I saw people wearing hazmat suits, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I'm just over here sorting beans. And the guy says, oh yeah, we have to radiate everything in a can so that there's no bacteria left and no nutrients. So, and it's full of metals, you guys. All canned food is, unless you're canning it yourself. So if you're really serious about healing from your disease and illness, killing these parasites and pulling metals, we walk you through in the private group on how to do this. And it requires fasting for 3 to 7 days without starving. Once you fast for 3 to 7 days and you reset your body, by the third day, you no longer crave sugars or carbs, and you're feeling like you're 12 years old again. You don't want to go back to eating, because what's the difference? When we eat, what are we doing? We're feeding our body nutrients, trying to. What's in a hamburger? What about a hamburger is nutritious? Nothing except maybe the pickle. You know? Nothing except the pickle. So what your body needs is nutrients, not necessarily food. And when your digestive system is involved, that means the parasites, fungus, and bacteria is too. They're just waiting for you to, like, with their mouths wide open, feed me, feed me. But when all you're feeding is your body is nutrients, it's happy. Your body doesn't crave sugar or carbs or meat or processed foods. The parasites do. And Carrie spoke about this. When they go into the brain, they have the ability. You say it better than I. What do they do, Carrie, when they get to the brain? How do they manipulate a person's cravings?
Oh, well, they are taking they're inside your blood cells, they're inside your veins, and they are stripping every nutrient from you.
Yes.
And when they're in your brain, they're literally controlling your thoughts, your behaviors. So all of the cravings are directly tied to the parasites. You know, you want that chocolate, you want that potato chip, you want whatever. And they are the root cause for that. And what I will say is, once you become clean, even eating a cupcake doesn't taste good. None of this stuff that you would normally have loved, none of it tastes good.
Nope. It does not, because once your body gets fed what it really needs, which is nutrients, and it's actually, you may think it's strict, but once you do it for even 3 days, you're going to be amazed at how your body now craves the nutrients you're giving it instead of the junk foods and processed foods and red meat and dairy and all of that. And don't let yourself get into deprivation mode. No, that's what stops people. It's like a shock to the psyche. Oh no, I can't have my chips and my ice cream and my steak and potatoes. Um, don't let the parasites control you. You control the parasites. You control your health. And this is a lifelong change. It doesn't mean that you can never have those foods again, because you also, and Carrie and I talked about this today too, it's not just about taking supplements. It's about your emotional psychological and spiritual well-being. So when your body is totally healed and you see this, you want to go get a big juicy hamburger, well, take a bite, have it. If you're in high vibration, meaning um, no negative vibration can come into you, can harm you anymore. You have that close relationship with God, and you keep your vibration high, nothing can harm you, not even bad foods. It doesn't mean that you're going to be sitting there and junk food eating for a weekend. But if take that bite of onion rings or have that ice cream, it's not going to harm you because it's not going to stay. Your body is in such high vibration because your pineal gland is cleared. You have a closer relationship with God. You're going to notice, I have people tell me that, oh my gosh, this is really working. I'm feeling things that I haven't felt in a long time or that I can remember. They feel such a connectiveness to nature and to God again and to other people. Not only do they see people for who they really are, but they see themselves as who they really are, which we are spirits, guys. We're spirits. We're not a body with a spirit. We're a spirit with a body. And you're going to see that. You are just praising God all day long, and you're going to be feeling 12. I tell you guys this all the time. I'm going to be 60 this year, and I feel 12. That's honest to God truth. I have so much energy. I'm twirling my bubble wand out in the yard, guys.
Well, I correlate it like when I talk about like how do I feel, and I feel like my soul is just a little kid so excited, and they're
Yes,
jumping up and down inside, and that's how I feel.
yes,
It's just excited, especially with all the people talking about the issue, and like you have remedies, and we have some other people that have some good remedies, but you know you just get excited about people getting well. And what's incredible is once you're well and you remove all these demons from your body, you the compassion elevates, the
yes,
the discernment, looking at people's soul, not the shell,
yes.
enhances,
Right.
and so cleansing is not just about the body, but it's cleansing the soul too.
It most certainly is. When you heal your body, everything else comes into place. You no longer are triggered by things. You are able to have more love and patience and empathy for people, not to the point where you are like supporting them in their weaknesses, because there's a difference there. What am I trying to say? Like a kind of
Yeah.
relationship. Yeah. Not that you're doing that, but you see their weaknesses for what they are, and you help them with their problem if they are asking you. So, yeah, your strength comes back in numerous ways, in all ways, and it's always with God's love that you do it in, more than you ever have before. You don't anger easily anymore because the parasites are out of you, um, everything like that. So, guys, I just want to say, make sure you go by Carrie's website, the Parasite. What is it? What's your
um
website, love?
parasitesinsideme.com.
Yeah, get Carrie's book, and get on my website, godsherbsheal.com, and get on one of my protocols to heal yourself from all disease and illness. And I'm going to see you on the other side in the private group, because everyone that orders a protocol is going to get a private invitation from me in their packaging, so that we're going to walk you through on the other side and get you through this, especially help you through that diet, which you think you can't do. Guess what? You can. You can. And you're going to be feeling like top notch in no time.
And I
So,
just want to say thank you. Thank you for investing so much of your time in creating these different protocols to help people regain their life. I mean, because it's just hugely important, and I think that you're an angel for doing it, and I just want to thank you for doing that too, because your protocol changed a lot of my daughter's things going on, and she's not done with your protocol, but I'm going to keep you posted because I'm excited to see the end result for her.
I can't wait. I hope she gets into my private group. I have a lot of people on my side here who are in the private group, and they're there to help. I mean, we're a family there, and we're a God-loving family in that group. So everything is about, say a prayer. Let's help each other. It's teamwork. It takes a village, right?
It sure
Um,
does.
it does. So thank you also, Carrie, for writing that book. Your research is going to help many, and I hope everyone on my side gets your book, parasiteswithinme.com, and I can't wait to receive your book either.
Thank you
It's
so
just
much, and I'll
amazing.
get it out for you tomorrow.
That sounds wonderful, and I'm sure we're going to be asked to come on together again, honey, and I'm all for it. You
Yeah, you
know,
just let me know.
I will, sweetie. Well, unless you have anything else to say, any other questions on your side, I'm going to say goodnight to you all, to everyone.
Yeah,
What?
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. We'll see you guys. And know I'm on live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'll see you in my emails, guys. I love you all. Good night. See you,
Good
Carrie.
night.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.